Well, welcome, and thank you for joining me tonight for our workshop on post-executive function skills. I am very excited to do this workshop with all of you. This is our first one ever to be doing about executive function skills to all of you, to the community. So I am very excited, and you're gonna get some activities and resources that these activities and resources are gonna be useful that you can use with your children. So first, I would like to acknowledge that we are privileged to be gathered here on the unceded traditional ancestral lands of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations. So I would like to invite all of you to have just 1 minute of silence to gratitude and to be thankful that we have this land where we live and we work here together. All right. So thank you. And as a community member, it is a responsibility to teach and model empathy, honesty, and humility in their honor of the ancestors that were here in these territories before us. Now, before we start, I'm just gonna provide a little bit of information about what is LDS, so Learn, Develop, Succeed. We are a non-profit organization, and our primary service is our one-to-one program, which offers weekly or bi-weekly individualized instruction to school-age children all the way to adult learners. And we also have a wide range of other programs. We work with all ages group, ranging from preschool age children to adults, and we work together with schools, teachers, caregivers, by providing information and tools that promote a successful learning environment for children and their families. So we provide this support to children that have a diagnosis or that have a suspected diagnosis. You don't need to have a specific ministry of designation. You don't need to have a designation to be able to apply for our programs. We have our center in East Vancouver, North Vancouver, a few partner schools, and we offer also online sessions, and we also have a really cool mobile classroom. And we also offer workshops like the one we are gonna have at this moment. So this talk, what are we gonna talk and what are you gonna learn? What are we gonna discuss? Is we're gonna talk about what are executive function skills. So every time I'm gonna say executive function skills, I abbreviate those in just EF, so it's easier, so I don't have to write the whole 2 long words. So it's just gonna be EF. We're gonna talk about executive function skills and academic executive function skills and daily life, and then also how you can assess your child on their executive function skills. And we're going to talk about more resources and activities that you can do at your house, or you can go and look for in the internet, or by playing some games, or by having another support like us. Where to go for support for this. And at the end, we will have questions, sometimes for questions and answers. So first of all, I would like to ask if you can tell me if you're a parent or a teacher. Super fast, if you can comment on the chat, mom, parent, caregiver, teacher, so I can know what's the audience here. Okay, parent, mom. Great. So it's all parents. Okay, I like this. It's nice to have all of you here. Neither adult who's back in school. Yay! This is amazing. All right. Great, great. So you see there for all of you, for you, this is going to be really helpful for you, and this is going to be helpful for your children. Welcome, welcome. All righty. So what are executive function skills? Who here, because I think all of you have heard about executive function skills. You can type me. You can type yes if you have ever heard those words, executive function skills or executive functioning. Okay, mostly all of you receiving a lot of yes, yes, yes. Cool. Probably this is why you signed up, right? Because you saw signs, you saw executive function skills, you were like, yes, I want to know this. I know a little bit. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you. And if you don't know anything, don't worry. You're in the right place if you know and if you don't know anything. Great. All right. So executive function skill is a pretty new term. It has been studied in the last years by many, many researchers. It tells us it is essential to regulate ourselves, to have self-regulation. It helps us plan, organize, make decisions, shift between tasks and thoughts. It enables us to control our emotions and not act by impulse, help us learn from our mistakes so we can adjust our behavior or our attitudes. We also use it for daily tasks like getting ready, organizing our belongings, setting up priorities. We technically use executive function skill from the moment we wake up to the moment we fall asleep, every day, all day long. Think about executive function skills as the brain conductor. Same as in the orchestra, there's a conductor that is telling and directing everybody what to do first, what to do next, who's going, at what point. That is your executive function skill. It tells us how to use our creativity and our smarts, our skills, so you can achieve your goals. And that part of the executive function skill, it is actually, and you can see it, how it works, because it is on the prefrontal cortex, so in the front part of our brain, and that part is the area that takes the longest to develop. So it starts when we are born, it starts developing there, and is not fully developed until 25 to 30 years. So this is why also as adults, we sometimes struggle with executive function skills. And to tell you a little bit about that, I'm gonna share a quick video. I need to share my screen. Let me change it. About this professor who lives here in Vancouver.
Adele Diamond. I'm the Canada Research Chair Professor of Developmental Cognitive Neuroscience at the University of British Columbia in Vancouver. Executive functions is kind of an umbrella term for a family of mental abilities that you need when going on automatic or relying on instinct or intuition would be a bad idea. So it's when you have to concentrate and pay attention and not do what comes naturally, but instead do what's needed at that moment. So it involves inhibitory control, like not blurting out the first thing that comes to mind, not jumping to a conclusion, waiting before you act, not giving into temptations. It involves attentional control, being able to focus despite distraction, being able to play with information in your mind so that you can maybe see connections that other people didn't see or come up with a new way of solving a problem. So it involves what's called inhibitory control, working memory, and cognitive flexibility. And from those higher order executive functions are built, like problem solving, reasoning, and planning. We understand a fair bit about executive functions. They depend on prefrontal cortex and the other neural regions with which it's interconnected. And prefrontal cortex takes a very long time to mature. It's not fully mature for 20 years. So people used to think, well, you don't see executive functions in babies or young children. But we now know that you see it even in the youngest babies. I use the analogies of a 2-year-old's legs. A 2-year-old's legs are not at their full adult extent. It's going to take maybe 15 years or so till they're at their full adult length. But with those immature legs, a 2-year-old can walk, a 2-year-old can even run, which is to say that even with an immature prefrontal cortex, even a very young child can exercise executive functions, not to the full adult level, but to some extent. And with practice and training, the child can do it better. For example, there's all kinds of evidence of problem solving, even in babies. You know, that toy is out of reach. How am I going to find a way to be able to pull it closer? This way of opening that jar isn't working. Is there some other way that I can figure out to open it? If you look, you'll see all kinds of problem solving that your child is doing.
Now where is my screen? Where is it? Sorry. Found it. All right. So she's a professor. She has a lab here at the UBC. And she started studying about executive functional skill in young children all the way to adulthood. So executive functional skill cannot be just one specific activity. They are everywhere, in every decision we make, in every action we take. So when we talk about executive functional skills, we are also talking about all of these skills: working memory, organization, perseverance, time management, planning and organization of your schedule and belongings, task initiation, have flexibility. This is not flexibility of like muscle flexibility. This is about having mental flexibility. What's happening if I'm driving and one road is closing? It's closed. Like Google Maps will take you to another route. So that's what your brain does when it adapts and when we are talking about mental flexibility. It has metacognition, sustaining attention, emotional control, and inhibitory response. So not act by impulse. Now, executive function skills and academic, what's the link there? Well, pretty much everything. As I said, we cannot separate because we use executive function skills in every activity we have. So in our children, we can see it that it helps them organize their tasks, follow instruction inside a classroom, solve problem, and actually working memory is a better predictor of academic success than the IQ. So it is more important that our children, that ourselves, if we're going back to school, we have a really good working memory than we have a high IQ, because this will tell us about our academic success. Poor executive function skills can result in difficulty with, obviously, time management, task completion, and sustaining attention during lessons. We're talking about at school right now. So, for example, these are some activities that our children and we did at school. So keeping notebooks and folders and assignment organized, or even just packing for the end of the day, organizing our belongings. So if your child is the one who always forgets the sweater or always forgets something, that's also part of the executive function skills. We also need a planner, right? We have an agendas that we use to keep track of homeworks, due dates, or projects. Also, staying focused during a long lesson, or even by completing an assignment without getting distractions from it. Keeping attention from the reading passage that we're doing so we can actually answer the comprehension questions. Remembering all the instruction that the teacher has told us to do, such as write a report after reading a chapter, or beginning in-class assignments promptly when the teacher gives you the go-ahead, rather than waiting and delaying and go and disturbing other students, or going and pick up my lunch instead of going and actually do the assignment that the teacher just told me to do. Having emotional control at recess, also waiting for their turn to use the slide or any other games that they have during recess or lunchtime, even sharing the lunch, and being able to switch between different types of assignments or subjects, like transitioning from science to math. That is also using executive function skills, our flexibility. Adjusting to changes in classroom routines, such as we have, like the children now have a substitute teacher or a different seating arrangement. And then the children are like, no, I don't want to. That is having the mental flexibility and adaptation to be able to adapt to new activities that presents. Also, a student raises their hand and waits to be called instead of just blurring out the answer. All of these are executive function skills. And as you can see, we use them daily. Now, executive function skills and daily life. Well, they help us, again, to organize our schedules, regulate our emotions during social interaction, and managing time effectively. Everyday tasks like getting ready for school, completing any chores that you have at home, even playing games require executive function skills. And this is an example. So from the moment we woke up and then we asked them to actually brush their teeth, get rest, have breakfast, pack their school bag, all of those activities involve executive function skill. Then remembering to actually bring their lunch or the homework, like how many times maybe you have your child call you, Mom, I forgot my homework, or at the end of the day they will tell you, I didn't put my homework in, so the teacher got mad, etc., etc. Even though when they did it, they actually did it. Also, paying attention to follow multi-steps, right? Between subjects or between whatever is going to happen during the day, managing their emotions with their peers, doing negotiations, handling conflicts without you being there or even the teacher being there. And then at the end of the day, at the end of the school day, starting homework, breaking tasks into manageable parts, and also organizing and preparing for other after school activities. So remember to have the uniform for basketball or all the books they needed for the next after school activity they will have. And then at home, completing chores, helping with meal preparation and transitioning between tasks. So maybe you pick them up and then now you remember that you have to go to the supermarket. They have to adjust to those changes, that not after the school we're going straight to go home and have dinner. Well, maybe one day we're not doing that. Maybe one day you're picking up dinner outside, or whatever happens, that an incident happens and then you have to switch to stop to the supermarket first. So they have to adapt. They have to use their executive function skills. Also, getting ready for bed, manage their emotions all day is exhausting. So being able to inhibit their natural response and actually act by controlling their impulses and managing their emotions, those are executive function skills there. So now we're gonna do a little bit of activity. We will read together the next sentences, and you will answer yes or no, not in the chat, in your head, or in a paper that you have next to you, or on your phone, whatever works for you, okay? You're only gonna answer yes or no to the next sentences, and if your child presents any of these behaviors, just answer yes or no in your head. So for example, my child forgets that they were saying what they were saying halfway through a sentence or a conversation. If you're an adult, that can also apply to you. We can check here your executive function skills. If my child receives too many instructions at once, they can remember all of them. So if you tell them, hey, can you bring me my purse that I leave upstairs in my right cabinet in the second drawer? And then he just goes upstairs and he's like, okay, what? That is, okay, that is that it cannot remember all of the instructions that was given at once. And my children has difficulty holding a few things in their head at once, like chess moves or even a list of tasks. So thinking about not having your phone and writing, oh my God, I have to do all these activities today. No. So remembering the whole day, what activities. It's Wednesday. So Wednesday, I have all these activities. Okay, so tell me. Don't tell me, just answering yes or no in your mind. You can reread them. So now if you answer yes to one or any of these examples, your child is struggling with working memory. What is working memory? Is holding and using the information in our short-term memory and actually using them. Okay, that is working memory. So remembering when you're at Costco and you have to remember, oh, wait, what were the things we didn't have at home? This, and this. Or even remembering all the instructions that we gave them, if they were able to actually find our purse wherever we told them that it was there. So if they struggle with that, they struggle with working memory. So working memory strategies, how we can develop this skill as parents. Well, give them multi-step instruction in smaller, more manageable parts. So don't tell them to go and look for that purse that is super hidden in the second drawer of your right closet, whatever. Give them easy steps like go and get a glass of water. Okay, once they reach that, then you can tell them, okay, now go and get also a cup of coffee. So don't give them multi-steps, multi-instructions at once. Break them into one by one. Have children repeat instruction or key information out loud several times. That actually is really helpful. So if you can tell them, if you give them one instruction, you can tell them, okay, what did I just ask you to do? And let them repeat the instruction to you so you can check if they actually get the information or not. Help children create simple acronyms, rhymes, or information. So when they are learning about something in social studies, so you can create a song or you can search for a song on YouTube to help them remember that information. Any card games. So yes, playing poker, Rummy, Solitaire, etc. All those games help with developing working memory. Also, we have some games that you can search them on the internet. On Amazon, it's called Distraction. And the most common one, Simon Says. So this is a really cool, this is a really old game that it develops working memory. Now let's do one more. Actually, a few more. Same activity, okay, as the last one. You answer in your head or write it down, whatever you want, yes or no. My child finds it hard to start their homework and often procrastinates. So until the last minute, they wait to actually do it. Waking up in the morning is really hard for my child. They struggle to get going. So these are the students that you need to take them out of bed, helping them get dressed, doing all the activities for them instead of them doing them independently. My child enjoys making big plans, but has difficulty starting them. So they can create this whole pajama party, but then they don't know how to actually execute. Okay, what day? Okay, how? If you as a parent, as a mom, are doing it for them, they are struggling with this. So if you answer yes, again, to one or any of this example, your child is struggling with task initiation, which is beginning task promptly and without procrastination. So if you tell them to help you folding the clothes and they actually do it right away or a minute later, but then they're like, yes, and then they continue watching the TV or playing Minecraft, whatever, then that's struggling with task initiation. And what we can do to develop this skill? Well, we can use visual schedules or checklists to help them see what tasks they need to do and help them start getting involved. So I have seen a lot of pictures where you can put it even to your younger children. Like, okay, when I wake up, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna brush my teeth, and then I'm gonna go and have breakfast. I'm gonna change myself. And these are just simple images that you can put, and they can put a check mark to actually, this will help them as a checklist or a schedule of the tasks they need to do. Use timers as for a countdown start. Okay, let's see. You can use it, but be careful with this. We don't want them to just rush to every single activity. Show children how to start that by modeling their behavior, so you do it, or even show them how the final product is. So if they have to write a paragraph, you can show them what is a paragraph. What does a paragraph from an essay look like? What is a sentence? What a sentence does is how does a sentence look like when it's finished? So you can write a sentence and show them how does it look like, so they know. Beat the timer, it's a game where you can give them if a little bit of more time that they need, please. So you can tell them, okay, you are gonna work on folding the clothes for 10 minutes. Let's see if you can do it in 10 minutes or less. So that's a game in which will be the task racing or beat the timer. In red light, green light, you can even use different types of light to check, like, okay, red light is like when you're racing cars, so you stop. But when you see the green, you go and you act and you actually do the activity. Those are some examples of how we can develop these skills. And last one, okay? Same activity, yes or no. My child has a hard time making the writing worksheet look tidy, even clear and organized, so they can write like all messy. My child locker or room or desk or school bag are often messy, where sometimes we can find like a melted chocolate inside there or a gum. My child sometimes loses things like their gym or school card, a ball, a cap, cell phone, sweatshirt, etc., etc. So all of this, if you answer yes or no to those questions, to any of these sentences, then your child is struggling with organization, which is keeping track of information and materials to ensure tasks are completed efficiently. How we can support this, how we can develop these skills? Again, having a weekly chart or a schedule, so having a planning also on the fridge, that helps. Encourage the habit of putting one thing away before getting another. So if they finish playing with Legos and they wanna build now with other kind of box, then they can put the Legos first away and then they can get the other games later. Use label and containers. Games like actually Monopoly and some other board games are really helpful with planning and organization, because they need to organize their materials and plan the next strategy. Card games also, and puzzle sorting. So these are simple activities that you can do at home to develop these executive function skills. Now, more resources and activities, don't worry, we have you covered. So actually, we're gonna share a whole PDF we have created, I have put together, so you can have activities and strategies to develop each executive function skill with your children using board games or other activities, like the ones I just mentioned. We also have some blog posts, resources, and more that you can search on our website that Thaisa is gonna share here on the chat, and also is gonna share it tomorrow. And also you can consider an executive function assessment, and we can also offer you our one-to-one support, family coaching, and more. So for example, what is this? We now actually offer a standardized assessment to check executive function skill in children and also adults, so you can have it for yourselves too. You can scan this code that is right here, and this executive function assessment, it helps you identify the strengths and the areas of challenge that you or your child is struggling with, and it gives you recommendation of what you can do. And either me or Becky, another great instructor, we can support you and we can give you feedback on all these executive function skills. And just to finish, I just want to share another video on what other things you can do to boost your executive function skills on your child and on yourself. Okay. This is a little bit messy, have it here.
There are many things parents can do to help their children develop executive functions. One is to provide opportunities where executive functions are needed and challenged and need to be practiced. So, for example, storytelling is a great example of how the child really needs to pay attention without the benefits of pictures on the page or puppets or video, and has to use working memory to hold in mind everything you've been saying. Remember the characters' identities, what happened earlier in the story, to relate that to what's happening now. So as you tell stories, you're helping your child develop executive functions. Another way is to provide aids so that your child can practice executive functions before your child could do it on his or her own without those aids. So, for example, sometimes pictures or signs can help a child remember what he or she is supposed to do when they wouldn't be able to remember otherwise. The best way to develop executive functions is to challenge them and train them and practice them, but also to indirectly support them by enhancing things that help them, like joy or social support, and minimizing things that impair them, like stress or sadness. So think about what activities require executive functions and challenge them, and provide emotional support, joy, social support, belonging, and you have to use your body. Well, you come up with traditional activities that we've always done, music, dance, play, sports, things that people have done since society's been in existence. Those things all help executive functions. When should certain executive functions be at manifest? That's really hard because there's so much individual variation. And they're developing during the time you're in school. Now, before you get to school, everybody's comfortable with babies starting to walk at different ages, starting to talk at different ages. We have no problem with that. And we know that the late talker is probably going to be just as good at language at age 2 or 3 as the early talker. But for some reason, we don't really appreciate that when it comes to executive functions or reading or math. And we worry so much when a child isn't ready to do it early. We think, oh no, it forebodes horribly for their school career and their life. Instead of giving children the time and space they need to develop at their own rate, because it really doesn't matter if you get it 6 months earlier or 6 months later. Different activities directly affect executive functions, indirectly affect them, or do both. So reducing stress indirectly helps executive function by taking away something that impairs it. Something like mindfulness both helps you develop attention regulation and executive functions to some extent, and also helps reduce things like stress, which indirectly help executive function. Most every activity has both aspects. So you think about sports, or you think about playing in the orchestra. You need to use executive functions to remember complex sequences, to be able to concentrate and pay attention, but you're also indirectly supporting executive functions by giving kids joy, helping them feel socially supported as if they belong to a group. So it's doing both.
Doing both, supporting them, knowing that they have our support, that we're here for them. And any sport will support their executive function skill. And well, now we're gonna have some time. As you can see, you can check this. You can check your executive function skill assessment. And there's also, we're gonna have the next community webinar. It's gonna be about ADHD. And ADHD, it's pretty much super linked to executive function skills, because having ADHD is struggling with executive function skills. That is going to be our next webinar, so stay tuned for that one too. So as you can see, we provide all of this information. We provide this support, the level B assessment, which is called the brief. We provide professional development for parents and family workshop, like the one that you're taking right now, and the one who's coming next, the ADHD one. One-to-one instruction in person at school or online, formal assessments, assistive technology, and family coaching. And I'm gonna stop, and Thaisa is just gonna give a message, and then we're gonna start with the questions.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here with us tonight. This is just a reminder, as Sophia mentioned at the beginning, that we are a nonprofit charity. We rely on donations. There is no obligation. These workshops are 100% free, but just if you ever consider donating to any organization, giving season is upcoming, just keep us in mind. This is just so you know that that's how we run LDS, and that's how we support our families. Thank you. You can start your questions now.